right, joining us now for more on Vance's faith journey, News Nation's Adrienne Bankert. Always great to see you, Adrienne.
Good to see you.
And we were talking in the break. I think the big question is, why should voters care about this specifically? Why all the focus on faith?
Well, and it's interesting because every single year, this is not rare to hear about the candidates talking about faith, but it's how they're talking about faith this year, right? And we know historically most Catholics have voted Democratic. It's just a part of the culture in America. But, you know, I talked about Catholicism with a social media savvy and political savvy priest, Father Leo Patalinghug, about Catholicism and why it's important that he's Catholic. And for a lot of people in the country, they're paying attention to different topics with the lens of faith because they see the world completely differently. And now Father Leo says he's calling on his fellow Catholics to vote based on conscience and not based on their feelings. He says among the benefits of Vance being Catholic, ascribing to tenets of humility and being able to admit he is wrong, something we arguably see very little of in politics. Let's listen.
That when he messes up, and he will because he's human, he can ask forgiveness of God, church, and one another. He should never be above being able to ask forgiveness to people who he's harmed. Honestly, if any politician could actually own up to their mistakes and say, I'm sorry, I'm human and I messed up in this because I didn't have all the information or because I might have been thinking selfishly. Honestly, that would be someone who I could vote for.
And, you know, every religion has their stuff. And I've heard, you know, in talking to folks around the country about their faith, there's Jewish guilt, there's Catholic guilt, there's Christian guilt. Yeah, right? Exactly. You want to do the right thing. But the fact that he, as an adult, went through this year-long process of study and deliberation and intentionality with a Dominican friar and was baptized as an adult, this is something that he's passionate about and obviously very vocal about.
Well, and I think it's interesting to make the argument that the Democrats don't align with Catholicism on these big issues, immigration and then also foreign policy. And that's something that you touched on in your report.
Yes. And so it's not just abortion, right? It's a wide swath of issues. And Father Leo, not mincing words, saying Vice President Harris's record on a number of issues is, quote, heinous to Catholicism. Remember, she skipped out on the Al Smith dinner, and that wasn't exactly a passing grade for a lot of folks in either party. But JD Vance being Catholic, going through the sacraments and living this life worthy of Christ, that it's not about pushing his faith down other people's throats. It's about being intellectually honest. Let's listen to this one.
I think the immigration is a big issue. While we want to be compassionate to people who are coming into the country, I don't think that the migrants now are being treated with compassion, even by states and cities that claim to be sanctuaries. They are not being respected. They are not being treated fairly because I think a sanctuary city has to admit, we don't have those resources. So why do you claim to be one if you can't actually be one? There's dishonesty there.
And Father Leo himself, Father Leo is an immigrant from the Philippines. He waited 12 years plus for his green card, and he is completely against what's happening at the border. And he says he can't speak for all Catholics, right? But that having a Catholic in the White House, should Trump be elected, Mr. Trump be elected, that it's a way for people to see that there's somebody who can employ those tenets, the best, the highest in the Catholic Church, which is having a faith, leading with heart, having integrity, being able to ask for forgiveness when you're wrong. And then the critical thinking and discernment. I thought it was interesting because JD Vance, in his journey through faith, he was raised by more Protestant Baptist folks in his household and his community, but they didn't really go to church. Then he became an atheist. And then finding Catholicism, you know, one reason why he did decide on Catholicism is that he felt he could still maintain his intellectualism. And that was something that was important to him.
And these are topics that are really interesting, that really have a huge impact when you talk about this election.
Right.
But they're complicated, they're multifaceted, and you do an awesome job breaking it all down in this series.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I think more people need to realize that many people of faith around the country, no matter what denomination, they're not basing it on what they hear from somebody else. They're basing it on what they believe, and that's their faith.
That is the key. Yeah. Adrienne Bankert, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.